joy in our town. I'm your host, Kelsey Bridges, and today we're going to be talking about the issue of youth, specifically about youth employment for the summer, for teen employment. And I'm joined today by Andrea Harrell. She is the Director of Youth Initiatives, and Christina Brooks. She is the Youth Center Career Coordinator for the Youth Center of Hampton Roads, Youth Career Center of Hampton Roads. That is a lot to say. Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, wonderful. Well, welcome, ladies. Welcome to the program. And can you tell us a little bit, first of all, about your organization and how it got started on trying to get careers focused at teens?
Well, our umbrella organization is Opportunity, Inc.
Okay.
And we are the administrative staff for the Workforce Development Board for Hampton Roads. It's our job to make sure job seekers have the training that they need and the skills to go into the workforce. And so we are a part of the youth team in that organization that oversees about 12 different youth programs throughout Hampton Roads in collaboration with our colleges and universities, public school systems, community organizations. And so about 3 years ago, we opened up the Youth Career Center as an open access point for youth looking to get assistance with career exploration and job preparation. And I'll let Christina talk a little bit about the Youth Center.
Well, the Youth Career Center is located in Pembroke Mall over in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
We are, like she said, an open access point for all youth ages 14 to 21 throughout Hampton Roads. We actually serve down to Southampton County, Isle of Wight, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Franklin, Virginia Beach, and Norfolk. So all 8 areas on this side of the water going down.
Great.
All of our services are free, and we do job preparation and career exploration services.
That's wonderful. So if a teenager is saying, well, I really want a summer job this summer, I don't know whether it should be a lifeguard or working in a mall or what I should do, and they can go to you all and you will put them in the right direction and guide them.
Yep, they can just pop on in. We're a walk-in facility, so they just show up anytime, 11 to 7, tell us what it is they're trying to do, and we help them sort it out and figure out what their first step will be.
That's fantastic. That's a really great avenue for teenagers to go about instead of trying to look through the classifieds or go online or even not even having any idea of where they should start or what maybe they're even qualified for. That's great that they have an organization like yours to be able to look at and get a good starting point. That's great. Well, one thing I want to kick off our segment talking about is the economy and how that has affected jobs for teens, because now we see entry-level jobs at fast food restaurants, at a grocery store, at a coffee shop. A lot of those jobs are going towards other folks that are having a difficult time finding work, so they're taking those jobs. And then how does that affect teenagers who maybe just a couple years ago might have been the prime candidates for a job in a coffee shop or in a grocery store?
Well, I would say so far this year, the job outlook for teens that we've been working with has been pretty good. I would say that the change has been is that our youth really have to be more professional about their job search. They really have to go after the jobs that they're looking for as if they're looking for permanent employment in the professional world. So it even starts with the application process and making sure that their resumes are together. I remember when I looked for my first job, we didn't need a resume. It was just fill out the paper application. But they have resumes, they have to dress appropriately, research the company, and just really, really prepare well so that they can compete against people that have more years of experience than they do. They have to look just as ready for employment as anyone else. So.
Right. That's great because that's great preparation for as they grow and throughout college and after college, learning how to conduct yourself in an interview. Are those skills that you all teach them as well? That's great.
Yeah, we help them specifically with most frequently asked questions from employers. We do mock interviews. We talk about what to wear. All of those things that are important to prepare for their interview process.
That's great. And what do you see as, especially here in Hampton Roads, what do you see as some of the places that are most likely to hire a teen?
Teenagers typically are able to find their first employment and their summer employments in what we consider high summer employment companies and organizations, such as your tourist organizations, the restaurant industry, the hospitality industry, as well as retail that focuses on summer gear and getting out there and enjoying, the good weather. And a lot of these, like surf shops. A lot of these organizations are having temporary positions that last for the point of the summer. So though our teens are going to be competing against other individuals that are looking for more stable employment, Summer positions are often looked at as also temporary, so our teenagers are able to fill in those positions when they are looking for that kind of short-term getting in there.
That's
So,
great. Do organizations favor a teen that would come in and say, well, I can only work for 3 months. My time in between school starting up again in the fall, and they just have that amount. Is that a good thing for them, or is that going to discount them for a position?
I would say that employers favor the best candidates. So more along the lines of teenagers that are able to have good self-presentation skills, able to articulate what their experiences are, what they're able to bring to the team. A quality candidate is hard to find. So
Right.
that's really what employers are looking for, is which candidate is going to be the right piece of the puzzle for what they need
Right.
to get through the heavy tourist season in the summer.
Okay, that's a great point about tourist season, because I'm sure lots of different cities have that, but especially Virginia Beach, we have a high influx of tourists coming in throughout the year, and especially in the summertime. So that's a great place to start that maybe people wouldn't even think of. And then who wouldn't want to work at the oceanfront in the summer? It sounds like a great experience. What are some of the ways that you all try to get folks, teenagers, involved in the application process? Do you have tips for them on what they should say or how to even conduct themselves on paper?
When we work with any teenagers and young adults that come in for their job search assistance, we look at the job search as a long chain of events.
Okay.
It's beginning with, where do I want to apply? What am I interested in?
Right.
Then it's figuring out, how am I going to do my application? Is it paper? Is it in person? Do I know someone who's there? Turning in an application and then following up and hopefully getting an interview.
Right.
Being able to prepare for the interview. Then hopefully they're going to get the good follow-up phone call that says, congratulations, you're going to be joining our team. So as we're looking at this long process, we try to figure out what point is our youth getting stuck.
Okay.
Is it they're turning in tons and tons of applications, but they're not getting calls back? So maybe there's something wrong with their applications.
Okay.
Are they going on lots and lots of interviews, but they aren't getting that good phone call at the end?
Right.
So maybe there's something going on in the interview that we need to practice with.
Right.
Or maybe it's cultivating the right references so that when they call, they're getting good feedback. So as they're coming in, if it's an application issue and we're trying to help them fill out their applications to the best of their ability, we want to make sure that they're doing it neat, that they're doing it accurately, that they're identifying the best format for turning in the application for that employer.
Okay.
Some employers offer both online and in person. However, they prefer one over the other. So it's
Okay.
figuring out which is going to be the most likely way to turn that in. And then as they are filling them in online, to still do that follow-up piece of calling and going in person so that you can make that good first impression, so that they
Right.
know who you are as a candidate.
Right.
And as they're filling out their applications, is making sure they don't leave anything blank and that they start thinking outside of that box and putting in their experience.
Okay.
A lot of teenagers think, I've never had a job.
Yeah.
So I don't have any experience, and they're turning in blank applications. But that's not true. Our teenagers' jobs, they're students. They've been in a
Oh.
full-time job since they go into kindergarten. So they're in sports teams, they're in clubs, they're doing big projects that they have to present in front of classes.
Right.
They take on leadership opportunities in the SGA. Maybe they volunteer somewhere over a long period of time. Maybe they help take care of neighborhood children, their own siblings. Maybe they're doing lawn care. Maybe it's their job to take care of all the groceries for the house. Maybe they have a big chore list. There's always something that they're doing that they can put on their applications. And if they're not doing something, then now's the time for them to find something to do. So that they can get something to put on there.
That's great. So even if a teen might be going, well, I've never had a job before, this is my very first job, I have no experience. That's really not true, because they can dig into, are you the president of the student government association at school? Were you the co-captain of your volleyball team or anything like that?
We
And
say,
that
take out a
carries
piece
over.
of paper, get a pen, and start listing every single thing you do. Everything you've
great.
ever done, the things that you're interested in, what your passion is. And then we start going, okay, that's really cool. That's going to be remarkable. Let's get that on there. This is something that you continue to grow within. So let's focus over here.
That's great. And that's good too, because then they have that kind of as a platform to start from and then going forward. How about references? How does that come into play? If a teen is going, well, who can I put down? Can I put down a teacher, a mentor, my mom's best friend, the family I babysat for twice a week when the parents went out on a date night or something? How do you know who to put down as a reference?
I think all of those are really great
Really? Okay.
examples of references that you can put down, especially if you haven't had professional experience before.
Right.
You really want to get someone who can talk to your character, and your skills. So you want to make sure that someone that knows you very well, not just if it's a neighbor that sees you every once in a while and is really nice to you, they're not going to be able to speak to your experience. But just as long as they can speak to what kind of employee that you'll make. And the biggest thing is to let them know that they're a reference. So many times, you know, you put people down and then an employer calls and they're going, who, what, why?
Oh, yeah, that kid.
Exactly. So make sure that they are well prepped, and that I usually will request that you give them a sample of their resume, so that you know, even if they don't know everything that they've done, or they may forget when the reference call comes in, they have something to refer to be able to talk to your experience.
Even if they don't have a resume yet to turn in, they can always get an index card and list 4 to 5 bullet points on what they've done, what they've been good at. So it's very important, like she said, to give background information on who you are, what you do, and also on the company you're applying for. So that they know what job you're going after. That way, if, say, a fast food company calls and says, hey, we have so-and-so here, they'll be expecting that call. They'll know about the organization. They'll know about the student.
That's great. And then they can speak to their specific skills of they're very great at handling multiple tasks at once or something like that they might want to hear. That's wonderful. How about the interview process? Especially, I think that's daunting to anybody, but especially if you are a young person and you've maybe never had that and you're interviewing with this adult who has more experience than you and all of that, and that might be an intimidating kind of process. How can they feel really confident when they walk in the door?
Well, I would say that practice is the key. You want to prepare well. You want to research the company. Every company has a mission, a vision, key points that they feel like is important to them and their community at work. You want to know those. You want to, if you're able to, find out what the interview process is going to be like. Is it what we call behavioral questions, where you'll give scenarios where you've identified and used certain skills? Is it a one-on-one interview? Is it going to be in a group? How long will it last? You know, all of those good questions. So that way you can prepare as much as possible. You can research on the internet, frequently ask questions in interviews, and practice and make sure you have a good story to tell with those questions. And get, you can obviously come to the youth center, but you can really get any person, you know, in your community to quiz you on those mock interview questions, and just be really prepared. Dressing professionally is a huge concern for our youth, making sure that even if you're just going to a fast food interview, that you still dress professionally. No jeans, no sneakers. Even if that's going to be your wardrobe at work, you want to show that company respect when you show up for that interview. Having copies of your application, having copies of your references and your resume. If you have a professional portfolio, that's great. You can bring that. If not, a dark black or dark blue folder would suffice if that's what you have available. And then something to write with. You want to bring all of that with you to the interview. Show up at least 15 minutes ahead of time. Definitely be on time, and just be prepared and ready to go. So, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but
that's pretty good. Just be ready for anything. A lot of retail places will actually ask the student or the youth to sell a product to them as part of the interview. So they might be at, say, a lotion store or a scent store and say, sell me this lotion.
Oh boy,
and they'll have to
on.
do it on the spot. So they might be given a scenario that they have to solve.
Yeah, I had one once that where an employer asked me to sell a nickel and charge a dime for it. So how would you go about that?
Oh boy, that's good.
And show.
That's good.
So just being ready for anything and just practicing. Interviews are a conversation. So just being ready to go and have a good conversation.
That's great. Well, these are great tools and great things that any teenager and really anybody, any adult could remember. Okay, I should dress professionally. I should be on time. That's great. But especially for teens to know as they go in for this summer looking at jobs. This is a great place to start. Your organization is a great organization to go to and look into when they're looking at that. So that's great. We'll be back in the next segment with you all, talking a little bit more about some more issues that affect youth. So we'll be right back. And don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Well, I first started skating with my friend. He had an extra board, and then he just gave it to me, and I've been skating ever since.